Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where our mint getter here is actually currently full of ore, which means that we can complete this contract, which is fantastic. So we are going to complete this contract. Basically now, our launch point is not necessarily super ideal right now. We are currently here. We would want to wait until we are about here. So we're going to have to warp forward a little bit. So let's go ahead and warp forward a tiny amount. And go to 50x. And actually, I want to set min-miss as our focus here, so that I can have this properly lined up, like so. We'll go to 100x. And it looks like our timing is going to be pretty decent. Again, we are going to want to go northward. Okay, so we're going to want to launch this quite soon. Not quite yet. Actually, pretty much any time now is probably close enough. So let's go ahead and retract our drills, since that's something that I didn't technically do. We'll get these retracted. There we go. We also don't need our radiators extended right now. We'll get those pulled back in. And off we go. We want to change up to being straight up, basically immediately. And we'll just rotate like so. And off we go. So our apoapsis is going to be relatively low for now. We're going to continue heading upward until we are at about an apoapsis of, I'm thinking, 50-ish kilometers? That's just completely making it up there, but something along those lines. Currently at 10. And of course it's going to be getting easier and easier because our thrust to weight is going up and our apoapsis is getting out exponentially. So this is fine. So we're definitely going to head northward soon. We are at an apoapsis of 20 kilometers right now. We don't need to be on radar altitude anymore. We are now at an apoapsis of 25. 30, 35, 40, 45, and let's begin heading over northward. Just to get that super easy rendezvous. Something right about like this. And you can see that we're burning almost towards target right now. Which is, overall, what we're mostly looking to do, is burn towards target. The fact that it's right on this line is pretty much ideal. You can see here, our separation is getting a whole lot closer. That's about as good as we're going to get currently. Unless we were to burn perhaps just directly at the target. Let's see if that would work. I'm not 100% sure if that would. Would that get us closer? It would. How much closer can we get is the question. This feels like it's getting less efficient. Okay, that's close enough right there. We're now going to switch to target mode. We're going to switch to target retrograde. Because as we approach over here, we are, of course, going to need to match speeds with the target and then get a little closer. So we are now facing target retrograde, and I think we will just go ahead and warp here. So this will be fine. Our time to this is still 6 minutes out. I'm going to warp ahead another 5 minutes, and then we'll target retrograde. And let's see if we can see where our station is. There it is. It's only about 17 kilometers away, and there's the debris just behind it. Okay, so we will wait until we get a little closer. What's our actual separation? 9.4? Okay, we'll do this at about 11 kilometers away. So we will just warp forward a tiny bit. And begin that burn. We need to match this velocity here. And then we can get a little closer. Our thrust to weight is still a little on the low side here, actually. But that's okay. We're going to be starting to drift further away pretty soon here, I think. Well, this seems to be pretty good, actually. Yeah, that timing worked out really well. I'll take it. Still need to kill about another 30 meters per second here. We should have plenty of DV to get docked up. Okay, we'll just bleed off this last little bit of speed a little bit more accurately here, if we can chase this node a little. Okay, that's good enough. We'll point towards target now, and we'll physics warp as this turns. There we go. And we will need to just get a little bit closer. So we will move in at about 10 or so meters per second. Actually, I'm going to take this up to 20. There we go. And now we'll move to anti-target. Actually, technically we want to be on target retrograde. You can see here, our orbit is not exactly identical, but we're only going to be 200 meters away at our closest point of separation. So we are turning over right now, and let's go ahead and warp towards our station a little bit. Going to take this up to 50x. Okay, now down to 10x. Now down to 5x. No more. Okay. So obviously we're missing a little bit, but this is fine. This is what we expected. I just wanted to get a little closer. At about 300 meters out, we will kill our speed. So right about now. Just trying to chase this node a little. Okay, that'll do. So let's switch over here, decide where we're going to dock in. I'm thinking that this will be our docking port. And where is our other ship at? There it is. Okay, so we will, for right now, we'll just come over to here. Let's see if we can't get this set up right now. There we go. So I want to set this crew hatch as target. Apparently we can't. So let's just extend this then and point to the target. And while that's happening, Let's see if now that this is extended, if we can set this as our target. Apparently we cannot. Interesting. We can control from there, which is fine. Point towards target, please. We may have to end up getting a little bit closer here. Let's see if we can't set our target position over here. No, we're going to have to get a little bit closer. That's fine. We'll burn in at something like 0.5 meters per second. Like that. And maybe once we get to around under 200 meters. So I'm just going to warp in a little bit here. We're coming in very slowly, which is ideal. Okay. There we go. Inflatable airlock set as target. Point at target. Next. Inflatable airlock set at target. Point at target. I want to make sure that we are controlling from here, and we are. So that's ideal. So we'll get this oriented in. And as we orient, we will then be able to get this docked up pretty easily. We're going to have to adjust our velocity a little bit, but that's what the RCS is for. Okay, we're just about turned over there. Fantastic. The station is now correctly oriented. And it looks like we are correctly oriented here. So I'm going to turn SAS off briefly. And we are now going to adjust our heading, or rather our velocity, ever so slightly. RCS off, back towards target. Let's check the station. Looks good. Okay. Technically, we do not need these landing legs extended right now. I'm just going to adjust our velocity ever so slightly here. There we go. Keep that pointed at target. Excellent. Now I'm going to physics warp us a little bit closer. Once we get to 100 meters out, it looks like this is wiggling. That needs to be addressed. How are we doing over here? Just hold firm. It didn't like the physics warp. Fair enough. We can put in a little bit more velocity here. We had drifted down to 0.4 meters per second. And this dock should go quite smoothly. This looks like it's going to be just fine. Just want to make absolutely sure of that. Okay. I'm going to warp us a little closer, because we're moving pretty slowly. Once we get to about 50 meters, we'll have to reorient. Okay. Right on that target. Right on that target. Excellent. We're going to have to adjust our velocity a little bit. There we go. And sit right on that target, please. This looks good. This should be a clean dock. Of course, it's going to take a little while to get there. But I'm not going to do any more warping at this point, because I want to make absolutely sure that everything remains in the correct attitude. And it really looks good. I'm going to make a slight adjustment to our velocity here. There we go. this looks perfect. Gorgeous. That was absolutely ideal. And that is that contract complete. So Valentina, your job is done. Now, Valentina, you should know that we're going to convert all of your ice cream into fuel. Just throwing that out there. We are currently apparently full on monoprop. I feel like we just used some monoprop. But you know, whatever. I guess I'll accept it. We no longer need to be conserving any fuel, so, or rather any ore, so let's start making liquid fuel and oxidizer. There we go. We're starting to fill all of the tanks that we have connected here. And that is exactly what we want. We want all of these tanks to be full. Largely evenly. But that's going to take some time. Specifically, we really want these tanks full, and it looks like it's filling this tank first. Actually, it's filling them quasi-evenly. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's filling them evenly. We can move around the fuel if there's not enough ore here to fill all of this. It's perfectly fine. For now, though, that is this station basically complete. I mean, we do need to definitely utilize this ore, right? Because there's a lot of ore here that we have not fully utilized. And we can't really detach one of these and send them down for more ore. So for right now, we're going to have to hop back to the Space Center. And we need to decide on another medium to long-term project here. Because we still have quite a lot of time on our missions that we have for our long term. Specifically, the Solar Gateway is still about 185 days away from its maneuver node, and the Raven 1S is still 68 days away from its maneuver node. And this one, well, this one's going to be lengthy. This burn. So that burn will almost certainly have to happen off camera. But I'm quite satisfied so far with the fact that we have this extremely functional station around Minmus. Where's Minmus? Here's Minmus. I'm really very satisfied with this station. It's got reasonable numbers of docking ports for things like this refueling mission, which is intended to go to the Solar Gateway. And the primary purpose of this station is to resupply the Solar Gateway. This is about the cheapest location we could do this from. It might be a little bit cheaper to do it from Gilly, but I think raising the Apoapsis up high enough, since we're going to be in between Kerbin and Duna orbits, I think that we're probably a little bit more efficient to start higher up from Minmus here. So I think this is about the best place we can do this. But we're going to have this filling up, and we can always refuel this anytime we need to. Some of these I may end up doing off camera because, I mean, at this point, we pretty much know the process, right? It's going to be the same thing every time. So I don't think that needs to be shown all the time. But for right now, let's just hop over to the Solar Gateway, which is made of the same core as Valentina's station. Actually, we have a little bit of science. We could grab one of these. Potentially metamaterials. I'm not... 5 meter rocket stack nose cones, that's fine. A big ol' engine plate, that's fine. I mean, we're very close to having the tech tree fully unlocked. I suppose we could go for Carbidine stuff. I'm not sure how useful it'll be right now, but it's an option. The Raven 0X in an adjusted orbit of Kerbin. I mean, we could definitely use some contracts, right? But maybe what we really need to do right now is just wrap up some of these missions, like this one here. So this is, of course, 68 days away from its maneuver node. We could fly this one, and we could just start getting it ready for this. Because essentially, I mean, this is 68 days away, right? We can warp part of the way, like 21 days, like this. And at this point, we can then check in on our Minmus station. And the Minmus station check-in will be to see if it is ready for additional ore to be gotten. I suspect it will be. Okay, we got another 40 surface science points. I'll take it. Okay. I'm actually going to accelerate this a little bit more. There we go. And now we will hop back and check in on the station now that it's been about 20 days. I also want to check in on our contracts and see what we've got available. Plant flag on Minmus, blah, 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 blah. Science data from space around the moon is something we can do literally right now. Science data from surface of Minmus is something that is still coming in. Expand the station. We need to be in command of it. Ensure that it has an antenna, docking port, and can generate power. It's already got that. 30 Kerbals, 8,419 units of ore. An auxiliary viewing cupola. A lot of these things are already done. We need to expand this one. This is something that we're planning on doing as well. I'm going to accept both of these. Okay. So, science data from surface of Minmus should automatically happen. Science data from space around the moon is something that we should be able to do quite easily with something like the Raven 0S. All we should need to do here is grab a temperature reading and transmit that back. Excellent. Okay, and then we will head back to the Space Center. That is a contract well done. What else do we have? I mean, expanding the Minmus station... The Minmus station is essentially a mining station, right? So that's the reason why I'm interested in doing this. 30 Kerbals means that we're going to have to send up at least one more prod module. I keep saying that wrong. Pop prod module. At least. And we would need more units of ore available there. New orbital station around the moon. Yeah, that's not something I'm interested in doing currently. I think we'll just hop over to the Minmus station and see how we're doing on some of these. And then the Solar Gateway expansion will be after we get it into its proper orbit. So, this here. How are we doing on the fuel? Well, we're completely out of ore right now. We have 3,900 total ore storage. So we're definitely going to need to expand this. And we're going to have to figure out how we want to do that, right? I mean, we do have some extra docking ports in some of these locations, which is fine. So, let's see here. 30 Kerbals. We currently support 11. Oh, we support 20, actually. We do not currently have any ore, yes, that is correct. And as far as our fuel goes, we'll have enough fuel. So we need at least 2 more mint getters here, as well as 1 more pop prod module. Okay. In that case, we could replicate this, have a module going out over here, 2 more mint getters, we send this mint getter back down to Minmus for now. In fact, both of them should go back down. Interesting. That, however, is a job for next episode. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.